Hello there, this is Reece Russell, and you're watching the weekly Steelchair.
It's my life in the box in front of me. Taking talk in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me laying face down.
What's up, everybody? How are we doing this evening? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to, well, I would say it's Free Company's one review show, but Maria's spot on. It's more like it's more like Free Companies, one review, and one took the piss. If we're really being honest. Yeah, the Bound for Glory Fallout show is basically what happened on Impact, and I'm sorry, but that's more of a podcast thing. I thought it was really offensive. Not gonna lie. And I don't care that TNA have been doing this for quite a while. They have, but they don't normally do it like this. They normally do these types of shows at the very end of the year when they've done all their TVs. So this felt like a waste of talent. I actually feel like, you know what, for like, it's almost as if TNA just didn't have a freaking clue what they were doing. But welcome to James, welcome to Zach, to Fernando, to Maria. Hello, everybody, of course. It's good to see you all. Yep, she's officially passed Jade Cargill, so that TBS title reign is officially coming to an end soon. By logical speaking, it will be coming to an end soon, but to everyone that's watching, hello, hope you're all doing well. We do have a fair bit to get through. We've got some news, we've got some enjoyment. We're gonna have some fun, because that's what we do around here. You know, like, we have fun, so don't think any other way is not gonna work on it. We're gonna run through it. I don't know if whose decision it was. That's the problem. Like, that's my problem, Fernando, is they've just ramped up, and I'll tell you right now, when it comes to Christmas, I won't be reviewing TNA at Christmas. Because they'll do the same thing. They'll just look back on classic matches from the paper across the year and they'll just replay them. Like, you might see, for example, in the Christmas episode, the Fatal Five Way from Slammiversary. Or you might see, well, that was last year, but the Slammiversary this year, which was Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry versus Mike Santana, you might see that on the Christmas TNA episode. Just as an example. Or the return to Genesis from this year, like that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly, James. At the moment, Fernando, I haven't really thought of anything. Nobody's really asked. I've not really branched out, so it looks like it's just going to be me. I know a lot of people. I know everyone likes the comparative shows with everyone involved, and I do as well. But there's certainly a method to my madness, of course. One thing I wanted to bring up as well. I've made a little change to our SWA shows. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I can show you here as well. I want you all to see this because this is a new, like, everything going. Although I do have the 21st episode ready, but this is different. Let me just fix this. There we go. You will have probably seen it on the playlist on the channel. But here's your new thumbnail for the Steelchair Wrestling Alliance shows. Tell me what you think. Hey Chester, how are you, fella? Let me turn. Actually, whilst I'm at it, let me turn this off. There we go. Glad to hear it, fella. Glad to hear it. Thanks, Fernando. The next episode is this weekend. Tony Khan should order Mercedes to defend the TBS Championship tomorrow, and she should lose it to Alex Windsor or Jamie Hayter. Maybe, but I don't think Mercedes Moné is going to have 2 matches in a row. I don't see it happening. Remember, Mercedes Moné defends her CMLL Women's World Championship tonight. I'll be surprised if she actually ends up just having another match. I think WrestleDream's already set. There's no way she's having another match. She's not at WrestleDream. She won't be there. I think that's why she wasn't advertised, because she already had the CMLL commitment. And to be honest, I wouldn't have it either. I wouldn't do that to her. I put it on the community tab for everybody. I know Maria saw it. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else did, but yeah, she's wrestling in the she is wrestling for CMLL. Yeah, I've seen it, mate. I burst out laughing. I burst out laughing. That's when you know you're up the shitter. Probably tidy up my beard over the weekend for everybody. But yeah, I think the thing about Mercedes Moné though is I think her time as TBS champion is coming to an end. I think you're going to see championships start to leave her very soon. And this is not like wanting her to lose everything. It's the right thing. Like, we need it to happen. So we'll see exactly what they deliver. So I'm all up for it. But there is obviously fair bits in news. Obviously, I've put on the community tab for everybody. First of all, here's some sickening news, and I mean really sickening. I, I, YouTube's acting up a little bit. Sorry for so. This. What the fuck is going on? Oh, there we go. It's fixed. For me personally, if they're going to have her put someone over, I'm going to go with a bold take. People want Queen Aminata to do it, Alex Windsor. People want XYZ. I actually think there's someone else that's of a young talent who's actually more deserving. I know she's in a tournament at the minute, but quite frankly, it makes no difference. I would give the TBS title to Billy Starks. And before anyone says she doesn't deserve it, yes, she does. Considering the fact that she's represented Ring of Honor for the past 4 years, she has nearly 600 career matches. She's the right choice. She's not a rookie either. For me, it's Billie Stark or nothing. I'm not even going to suggest Deonna Purrazzo because she should be winning the Ring of Honor Pure Women's title anyway. So I'm not going to suggest Deonna. Serena Deeb wouldn't be a bad shout. I don't want it to be a less experienced main roster talent right now. I don't. I want them to build themselves up. I don't want Queen Aminata to win it just yet. Because I think, personally, you can run a Billie Stark's run where she has a good 5-6 months with the TBS title and you have her move on. For me, it's about how you balance it out, and that's what I would do. The only other one that's good shout is Red Velvet when she returns from injury. Because that's a logical option. Red Velvet, considering the fact she carried the Ring of Honor Women's TV title until she got injured. She got injured. Remember, Mina Shirakawa is not the official champion. Red Velvet is. The circumstance being, you have Mina Shirakawa get put over by Red Velvet, and then Red Velvet goes and wins the TBS title. That's another option. For me, Queen Aminata does not need the TBS title. I wouldn't even put her in that division. I think she's good enough to skip it. And also, there's no point in her winning it. Because that will slow her down. And people might think, oh, that's harsh. I'm being harsh saying that, but I'm not. I'm actually respecting her. If you think logically, Fernando, you'll see why I'm saying it. If you think, instead of asking why I keep picking them, think on the logical sense why I'm suggesting them. And then you'll notice exactly what I'm talking about. It's not about, oh, they're coming from this brand to that brand. There's a very logical step behind it. And there's more to gain by one of them doing it. Let's be real, Queen Aminata has barely done anything wrestling-wise. That's why you give her the opponent following this. There's so much depth that's not being covered properly. That's why. But you need to look at other elements. Key elements. Elements that aren't actually remotely a problem. Elements that actually give trajectory on a bigger scale. Now that might sound over the top explanation, but it's not. What I'm suggesting is you can't just go for the. It's actually something that Temple said the other day, and it's something people just need to remember when they just suggest talent. And to be fair, we all suggest talent because we've all got our options. We've all got people we like or we want to see win everything. But not everybody can be a champion. Not everyone can. Not everyone should be. Like, you look at the names I didn't mention. There's a grand scale of talent I didn't mention for good reason. Think about that. I could have went and said logical like Harley Cameron. No. I'm going to be very harsh here and say Harley Cameron doesn't need to win a title in AEW, period. She's somebody that I wouldn't put any championships on. That might sound harsh, but I don't mean it like that. Like, I'm not saying that because she's not someone you should put a championship on. I'm saying it because there's certain talent that doesn't need to be a champion. Now you might think, oh, he's attacking our favorites. No, I'm not. It's not like that at all. It's actually very important. That's why I'm going to say another thing as well, and this might hurt people as well. Timeless Tony Storm should never be a world champion again. Or just Tony Storm. She's done for me as a world champion. It's not because she's too old. It's nothing to do with that. For me, she's bigger than the championship. I actually think she's so far gone now. You put the belt back on her, it feels like stagnation. You're hindering the championship by putting it back on her. It's the same with AEW's men's division. Jon Moxley should never be world champion again. Like, I hope that Tony Khan somehow sees this and listens. Tony Khan should never make Jon Moxley or Tony Storm champion again for the world divisions. For the main title belts, the main mid-card championships, no more. Because that's not learning a lesson. And I'm going to give you a prime example of not learning a lesson. Guess how many championship reigns? This is a different company, but I have to use an example of ridiculousness. How many times did Cena hold the title between 2009 and 2013? Now this is the main world championship, so the WWE title and the world championship at the time. What's up, Nick? I'll look forward to being on your show later, bro. But I'm being genuinely serious. Like, if anyone wants to hazard a guess, how many times did John Cena hold the world title between 2009 and 2013? Maria, not exactly. Not advocating for that. That would be a bad idea. If anyone wants to know, I'll tell you. And it's embarrassing. Two thousand and nine, Cena had already held the WWE title from 05 into 06 once. Then he regained the title of the Royal Rumble, 2. He wins it the third time at TLC and he holds it for 380 days. He drops the title through injury, reclaims the title against. He goes through a full near enough a full calendar year. He doesn't win any WWE title, by the way, until much, much later. He wins the world title at Survivor Series. So he holds that all the way to the Elimination Chamber. So this is the start of 2009. World title, reclaims it at WrestleMania. Then he wins the WWE title from Randy Orton. I believe it's 4 separate title changes. Then he wins it at Elimination Chamber in 2010. Then he wins it again. Cena was already, by the time you get to WrestleMania 29, when he beats The Rock, I'm pretty sure Cena's already, I believe, a 9 or 10 time world champion. For context, in 2013, Triple H is no longer a main event wrestler, and he was a 13-time world champion. Brock Lesnar in 2013 was a 3-time WWE champion. He's now an 11-time champ. And Brock didn't win a title until 2014. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Because going back so many times around Cena, Yes, he was popular. Exactly. Well, he did win the chamber technically, then he got it back at 26. You know what I meant. But it's still the same circumstance. He still won it technically twice that night, which is still bad. It's still bad. But you look at the whole situation. They kept going back to him. I'll give another example. When he went to SmackDown, Edge was already New Year's Revolution, Post Vengeance. As a two-time champion. He wins his third title against The Undertaker, and he won the World Championship 7 times. In 5 years. An 11-time champion in 5 years. Because they go back to talents who are, yes, they're good with the title, but you're overdoing it because you don't buy into new talent. You don't give them a chance. You just go, it's tried and tested. That's my concern with AEW. That's a concern I have. If you go and give another title reign to Toni Storm, she becomes a what? That's what it'll be what her 6th title reign? 5th or 6th title reign. You give her another title reign, you're just going to have her spamming championships. That's not what she is. You put another one on Jon Moxley, that's his 6th as well. The most combined... No, that's his 5th title reign. Jon Moxley will be a 5-time champion if he regains the belt. I'm sorry, but no. No. They need a massive break away from the championship, if not permanent. And that's not hatred. I can separate the fact from the emotion. And that's funnily enough why I'm suggesting certain talents that I would like to see take this title of Mercedes May. I want it to be someone like a Red Velvet, someone like a Billy Stark, someone like... If they end up going down the route of Queen Aminata, I'm okay with that. But I think Queen Aminata right now, she doesn't give me the I want to be a champion vibe. She gives me the vibe of she wants to be the best possible version of herself and then get the reward. Exactly. They don't need them, Chester. Exactly. Even Mina Shirakawa realistically should be holding a TBS title. There's people that make sense and there's people that don't. Now I'm not saying automatically, oh, then go and do the difference. What's the difference? The difference is the reward is the upside, whereas the vibe is like that instinct feel. So, like for example, look how long it took for them to get the AEW World Title on Kenny Omega, for example. Already at that point, Chris Jericho had been champion for 100 and... I think he was champion for about 140 something days or something like that. Jon Moxley held the belt for about 235 days, I think. So already you're close to... Well, you're over a calendar year between two champions before you get the belt on someone who people were saying should have been the very first champion. I don't. I always stood by Chris Jericho should have been the first champion because it made more sense. Chris Jericho, let's be real, was the biggest star. And it made sense. Then when Kenny got the gold, it felt right. And then he held it for so long. No, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. When he won it, it was the right decision. You had to bring in the biggest star to hold the belt first to make sure it's ready to go. That's why it makes sense for Chris Jericho to be the first champion. And by the way, see if it hadn't been Jericho, it would have been CM Punk. Because that's who Tony Khan wanted. Tony Khan wanted Punk to be his very first champion. He wanted him to be his first signing. Didn't happen. But Jericho was still big. And you can't turn down someone like Chris Jericho as an established commodity. And if you did, you're a fool. Jericho carried AEW in the right way. The branching of how you get to a certain champion is right. So AEW, despite Kenny Omega, everyone knew like Kenny Omega was the best wrestler in the world at the time, bar Okada, bar Jay White. They were the best 3 wrestlers on the planet. But you were smart not to rush to a Kenny Omega title reign, because if you did, people wouldn't care. They would lose interest in a heartbeat. And then you look at his title reign. Look what his title reign introduced. You had so much variety and talent from all 3 separate title reigns. And then you get to one of AEW's biggest moments, the Hangman's Tale. Again, a beautiful story. Hangman wins the gold, holds it for 197 days, drops it. Conveniently in the right way. But then they made the mistake. They made a huge mistake. CM Punk winning the title was correct. But Punk should have dropped it to MJF. Should never have been Jon Moxley as an interim champion. Well, champion, then Punk wins it back, gets injured, then you've got the interim championship run of Moxley, which was stupid. Even though it gave us what we had. Jericho still carried it in the sense of he was bringing the mainstream attention. The Elite and Cody were there. Well, Cody was, dare say, trying to eject himself out of the main event scene on purpose. The Elite were establishing a different variety. But the main event scene was carried by Chris Jericho. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. The difference is, when he left that main event scene, they didn't replace Jericho in the main event. Like, they didn't, if you actually look at it, Chris Jericho was never replaced as an AEW main eventer. And that's actually a problem. Now, you've got some good main eventers in the AEW division right now. That's not a lie. But you still have to replace the talent. You still have to replace a main eventer with a main eventer. WWE haven't done it. And funnily enough, that's a problem with this division. And when that's what another thing as well. And here's another thing as well. I mentioned about one of the posts on the community tab. Maria commented on it, which I appreciate, about Chris Statlander saying she's going to be a great women's world champion. Yes, she is. She is. But Maria also said people will eat their words about doubting her. If you look at my response, I agree with Maria, but I also say it's not about doubting her, it's about the mantle. You know, I said there about Toni Storm is bigger than the women's world title. It's because she is. And not many talents can do that, where they can become bigger than the championship and you want to see the difference. She is bigger than the championship. And because she's bigger than the championship, whoever follows her not only has a lot of pressure, but they need to go and try and overcome that reign. So Chris Statlander is such a good wrestler. And her character work is good. But she needs to go above Toni Storm's level to be a great champion, let alone a greater champion. That is very hard. And if you want to look at a bad example, Cody Rhodes is still suffering from that Roman Reigns title reign. He's still suffering now as a two-time champ. That's a reflection. I'll give you another example of someone who failed. It was his first title reign, but it's not his fault. Sting. Sting in 1990 failed in his first championship reign as world champion. Because he was following Ric Flair's sixth title reign where he was champion for 450 days. That's no feat to replace, or no feat you can eclipse. It's not possible. And he struggled. And that's unfortunate. Like, it really is. Now, the Macho Man done it. Macho Man was able to cope with following the title reign of Hulk Hogan when he held the title for 4 years. I agree with that. I think it's because they didn't have it easy. They just knew what they were, just so much more aware of the situation, the circumstance, which is so important. Like, another great example is, actually, to be fair, there's two of them. Following the same man. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles were phenomenal at following Kurt Angle. They followed two of Kurt Angle's best title reigns. And they were really good. And they vamped massively. Yep, the Black Scorpion storyline, it was rushed. And it was a carbon copy of what that absolute skank Fabulous Moolah did. She did the same thing as Spider Lady, or whatever it was, Spider Lady, when she came back under mask and won the world title because the current champion refused to drop the belt. Wendy Richter refused to drop the title, so Fabulous Mooskank came in and won it. If you've not figured out, I hate the Fabulous Moolah, and I don't respect her career. As far as I'm concerned, her career means nothing. Like, she's an illness to professional wrestling if you're a woman. Like, if you're a woman and you want to understand wrestling history, skip the Fabulous Mooskank. I don't care if that's offensive. It's the truth. She ain't a wrestler, she's a freaking terrorist. Oh yeah, she refused to drop it. That's why they did the fast count. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh Jesus Christ. According to Body Slam, Ilya Dragunov is expected to make his return from injury tonight and he'll be stepping straight into a US title match against Sami Zayn. God almighty. Avoid all three, Glenn. They're all skanks. I would actually hope all three to be set on fire, if I'm honest. Obviously, one of them's dead. I don't know if he is. If he wins that, it'll be ridiculous. It's bad creative, James. It's bad creative. Are we surprised? No. I am a fan of his, but I don't want him to do this. I think it's just pointless. Quite frankly, he comes back and wins a title in his first match back. He's been injured for well over a year. Nah. And also, why SmackDown? When the folk that people want to see him wrestle are on Raw. Doesn't make any sense. For me, it's clutching at straws if they have him return and win the US title. I like the guy, but he's gone after the wrong division, wrong show, and the wrong belt. I would much rather see him go after the IC title. I think Raw's a much better shout for him. Oh, of course he does. Red faced, high as a kite, crazy as hell. He's definitely on coke. Like his pal Jey Uso. I suppose we should do the right thing. And we should get into this week's Dynamite and Collision. I mean, at least the fact is it's a go-home show. It's not a bad go-home show either, if I must admit. Now, I do have some concerns with it. I did say on last night's show that I was disappointed with one thing. Well, one of the things. I said I was annoyed by the commentary. That hasn't changed. Because I had to go back and rewatch a few things. Tried to see if I can change my mind, because I did try, and it didn't work. Could you do your best Macho Man impression? You want me to do this? Things you do for your fans, eh? And the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. Sugar is sweet, so is honey. Reece Russell can't be stopped. There you go. There you go. One time only. And the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. Sugar is sweet, so is honey. Reece Russell can't be stopped. Can't believe you're asking. What is it with the Macho Man impression that you guys like so much? The cream of the crop. The Macho Man, you run my soul. I don't know what it is about that Macho Man impression you guys like so much. I don't get it. It's not that good. Anyway, let's get into it. So the Dynamite side of this show begins with a little weird segment. And I say weird because it bloody was. Timeless Tony Storm and Chris Statlander have their final words before their championship rematch this weekend And I'm not gonna lie. And I normally say I like listening to Tony Storm or Statlander's promos, but not gonna lie, their promos were weird. And some of the shit they were saying, I'm like, who says this shit? Even as a logical person, who says this stuff? And I'm thinking they're going, God almighty, I don't actually think they were. I actually don't think it was that good. You know, I feel like it was actually weak. And not weak as you don't want to watch it, but weak in terms of context. If you guys disagree, I'm okay with that, but like, what do you guys think? I thought it was confusing, some of the words from these promos. Like, just, I think the more exciting part is when they literally got in the ring and just beat the shit out of each other, but refused to smack each other with the title belts. I thought that was strength. Like, I really did like. I did really enjoy it, but yeah, I'm the same, James. I was so puzzled. I felt like I was watching a John Cena segment. Like, just sheer confusion in front of me. I thought it was absolutely funny as well that Statlander and Tony Storm decided to just strip in front of Renee Paquette. And she's like, nope, enough's enough. And she took her jacket off, and I'm like, okay, someone's a bit jealous here. The galaxy's greatest alien is what Stat calls herself. And not gonna lie, she moves like an alien, but she talks like a bizarre human being. So it's a bit of a mixture. But I don't know, I just found it strange. One thing I'm gonna say, and this is true, I think that match this weekend is going to be excellent. I think these two will step up way beyond the plate. And I hope it's a featured match towards the end of the show. I don't want it to be early on. I'm hoping it's later in the show. I really do. Something I don't want to see on any show at the minute is the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand. The match was decent. The Hurt Syndicate have lost for the first time. In terms of being pinned anyway. But I'm sick of this feud. This is rinse repeat nonsense, and I'm starting to wonder if Tony Khan has a idea about where they're going. The Demand already lost a match to the... Well, actually, they've lost twice. And now you're putting them in a third match? Show of hands. Either, actually, thumbs up or thumbs down. Who actually cares about this Hurt Syndicate versus Demand feud? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Appreciate the honesty, James. I mean, this is literally what I think of every time I see these two against each other in the ring now. This is what I'm thinking.
We do not care.
We do not care. We do not care.
We do not care. We do not care. We do not care. We do not care.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm like, who the fuck cares? Nothing. These are just meaningless matches. And there's no fucking interest in the feud. No one cares. People are actually checking out of this. You're going to lose the appeal of Benjamin and Lashley if you keep sticking with this shitty feud. Exactly. It's dead. It's more dead than Ricochet's hairline. Like, it needs to end. And if it doesn't, then you can forget enjoying that on TV. It would not be worth it. Well, it isn't a dead story, it just might be the wrong order. But Darby Allin and Jon Moxley had the best AEW segment of 2025. This face to face in a secluded location. This segment was incredible. I love the simplicity of doing it in front of each other, like as if you're in prison. It's like both men are sitting in prison in front of each other, with the heavy glass that you can't break. I thought that indestructible plexiglass, but it felt like Darby Allin and Jon Moxley were in prison. And you're sitting there listening to them speak, and they're ironing shit out, and they're like, well, here, this is where we're at. This is the situation. We need to come to terms with this. How are we going to deal with this once and for all? And I think both of them come out of this very strongly. The words, the delivery, the choice of tone. Both men have proven that they can bring different things to the table. And it's so effective. And I'm like, you can see why people believe in Darby Allin. But you can see why people hate this version of Jon Moxley. And by hate, I mean as a heel, you hate this guy. This guy doesn't care about who's in front of him. In the nicest way possible, Jon Moxley could be wrestling Renee Paquette in a ring, not elsewhere. He could be wrestling his wife, and he doesn't see his wife. He just sees a black image, like a shadow, covered image of an individual. Doesn't matter who it is. When you're in the ring with him, it's either step up or get out. And this is what Darby Allin has got to prove. Darby Allin on this weekend at WrestleDream, he has to do more than win. And he's got to do more than force Jon Moxley to quit. Darby Allin's got to make Jon Moxley reach breaking point. Because WrestleDream is where it has to end. All of it. I don't want a third match. I don't want the Death Riders to continue. For me, this weekend must be Death of the Death Riders. Their execution must come this weekend. It's time. It's that much that the Death Riders bar Jon Moxley are on the pre-show. They're on the pre-show. Moxley's the only one on the main card. That says it all. It's time. I'm ready to say goodbye to the Death Riders. I'm ready for Jon Moxley to do things on a solo basis in the worst way possible. I'm ready for him to tear people apart on his own. He doesn't need a faction now. And Darby Allin proved it. I get you, bro. Darby Allin, in a way, has the ultimate responsibility. And Darby Allin said it himself. He was tempted to join the Death Riders. I appreciate that. I think that's great storytelling. he knows that he is someone of the people in AEW. The fans love Darby Allin. If it hadn't been for what happened to Bryan Danielson, he would have been a Death Rider. Yeah, that'd be funny. Ow. There we go. But it is time. And I think they're ready to go their separate ways. I think Pac is ready. I think Claudio is established enough in the right path that he can fit anywhere. Daniel Garcia is still shit. Wheeler Yuta needs to go to the homeless shelter. Marina Shafir, she's perfect. She can stay with John Moxley if they want to just do them as a pair. I'm alright with that. I wouldn't mind that. I think that still works. But we don't need a faction anymore. AEW's already got the right faction already to get further behind in terms of grip and story. And that's the Don Callis family. So that should be it for me. And I thought just the way that the words from Moxley as well to distract Darby Allin, then Darby Allin gets his head caved in off the glass was perfect. That was genuinely brilliant, and the camera work, the lighting. Honestly, I've got genuinely no words for it. I was so impressed. Yeah, the faction needs to stop growing. If anything, he needs to just cut people loose. Now, in terms of the match we got, Claudio versus Roderick Strong, no one got involved. A Mick Foley situation, that's a good shout. The Dark Knight, yeah. Let me guess. Are you thinking of the... You're either die a hero, or you see yourself become the villain? Or are you thinking about some people just want to watch the world burn? Because I think you can go for a fast spin curveball and you could say, who is, like when Joker asked the question, instead of asking who is Harvey Dent, you can say who is Darby Allin. There's strength in numbers, but are the numbers there? Now, this match was excellent because there was no interference. Claudio gave him a good run for his money. I really enjoyed it. A big European uppercut to get the win. Different way to end the match. It was exciting. Now, we do get Jungle Jack Perry and Luchasaurus again as a team with Kenny Omega versus Mark Davis, Hechicero. That's a good one as well. That's a brilliant line as well. I just do things. it's fair. That hospital scene is phenomenal for lines. The Don Callis family, of course, in this match is represented by Hechicero, Josh Alexander, and Mark Davis. Mark Davis, of course, returns to action following an injury layoff. He returned attacking Kota Ibushi after Ibushi got injured on last week's Collision, which is a shame. He'll be missed for a long time. We will miss him. But I thought this match was really well done. I thought the Hechicero taking the pin was surprising. But it was the rope walk doomsday device, which was beautiful to watch. Hold on. So crazy wants out of my room. I'll deal with this. Come on now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Best to just let her go. It's quiet for me. It's less pain. Good to see you, mate. Now, of course, following the match, the Young Bucks try to attack Jurassic Express. Kenny Omega saves Perry from a Meltzer driver and leads to the Bucks retreating, which is completely fine. You can see that they're doing a split story here. Like Omega wanting to go after Alexander, but Jack Perry trying to earn the trust of Kenny Omega. Is that the right option? I don't know. I want to see Omega versus Hechicero as well, but I don't know what the outcome is. If that makes sense, I'm not sure, but we shall see. And it's funny how Excalibur's announcing that the Bucks versus Jurassic Express is now a $500,000 money match when everybody knew it was a money match like a week and a half ago. He's such a flaming fool. Yes. Certainly is. Okay. Up next, the chicks are in. We've got Julia Hart versus. Oh, sorry. I know I said Julia Hart, but it's not. She should have been. It's Sky Blue versus Jamie Hayter. Not gonna lie, see this match. It was just there. It was just present. Both women were fine. It was just present. But I didn't understand why we're. So it's nice that we're getting the. Finally, we're getting the confirmation of why Tekla attacked Jamie Hayter on her debut, and I appreciate that. But it's a bit late to now go back on this. Why now? But what did she change it to? If anything, she shouldn't be called Sky Blue anymore. She should be called Sky Black. Yeah, her promo was excellent. It's just weird. There's another thing as well. This needs to be called out because it's disgusting. Has have you guys seen what WWE have done? They've now hired someone going forward where WWE stories will be produced and written by AI. They are now going down a fully fledged AI storyline route. And this is the difference between them and wrestling companies. Yeah, they are. No, I wish I was, but I'm not. Have a look for yourself. Look. The problem is AI is still not going to understand the concept that they're still not going to improve the product. This same person is going to replace Triple H as well because of the fact he's going to do more shit in the White House. Again, he's another one. He's a flaming idiot. But yeah, they're going down that route, and it's horrible. But yeah, I thought the Jamie Hayter Sky Blue match was fine, but I feel like they need to do more of them. Don't know if they're going to, but I think they have to. LFI versus the Ops with Catherine's favorite wrestler on commentary. Well, let's make it very, very reflective. Wrong team won. Blood and guts for the women. Yep. The wrong team won. Because here's another thing that's a reality. Joe and Hangman are both babyfaces. So how do you split the dynamic? Is Joe gonna work heel? Is Hangman gonna do a bit of heel work? Who's gonna do what? Because I don't know. But I physically don't know. Babyface versus babyface matches never work well. Because someone has to do the difference. This is why I also feel like they're just gonna lose out. That it would have been nicer if the Ops had lost the titles and Samoa Joe got pinned. Now you might think, oh, but why? If he's gonna lose at WrestleDream, it would make him pissed off. He can come into the match angry that he lost the trios tag belts. But no, they won the match. He celebrated. No jeopardy for Samoa Joe. What's the point? Like, what is the freaking point? Hogan versus Warrior worked in a different way. That's still not a valid comparison. It worked purely for the sense that you knew it was going to be very little and the crowd energy would build because of them. It was totally different style of match work. That's why this won't work. This isn't the 80s anymore. Following that is not going to manage. It's not going to hit a home run. It'll be a good match this weekend. Hangman versus Samoa Joe will be a good match. But if they both just work babyface the whole match, it won't be a great one. That's the problem. One of them has got to, throughout the match, change up a little bit. Not change their whole persona. Just change up how they work against the other. Like, Hangman, for me personally, has to be a bit more heelish. Because he's up against someone he's never beat. Hangman does. I'm not saying he has to cheat to win. What I'm saying is he has to be a bit more sneaky. Little feints when he goes to hit a move, like little off distractions, catch Samoa Joe off guard in different ways that he hasn't done, and that's the only way it's going to work. The reason for that being the Steiners carried that match perfectly. But Lex Luger and Sting together failed every time. Babyface, when they were together, they failed every time. It's one of the worst world title feuds of all time. Because they couldn't carry it. They couldn't do it. Now, it was beautiful seeing the crowd chanting, "Joe's gonna kill you." I'm talking about when it was the World Championship singles feud. They were fine in that way, but the Steiners carried it. But when it was Sting versus Luger on their own, they failed. Big time. That's why the NWA lost money. Big money. Shouldn't have, but it did. Unfortunately, on this show, there's a pain, there's an illness, and then there's another stupid decision by Tony Khan. Sigh. You get a tag match of Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly versus Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. A match so bad that they decided to give us an 8-man tag at WrestleDream. I don't care if it's on the pre-show. This is disgusting. This was horrible. I'm not even going to praise this shit. It was horrible. It was disgusting. I'm just going to skip it. And you know what? It was nice to see Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood accompany Megan Bayne to the ring for her match on this show. With Harley Cameron, of course. Top Gods, their name now. It works for them. I quite like it. I think overall we got some good matches. Obviously, Willow Nightingale and Jet Speed accompany Harley to the ring, which was cool. Harley Cameron really does get better every single week. That's why I say Harley Cameron doesn't need to hold a title any time at all. She's one of those where you don't need to see her hold a title because we're not watching Harley Cameron to be a champion. We're watching Harley Cameron to be the most unique women's wrestler that's out there. And honestly, every time she's in the ring, I don't think about, Harley Cameron could be an AEW Women's World Champion. Oh, Harley Cameron, TBS champion. I'm thinking, Harley Cameron, what batshit stuff is she going to do next? Oh, Harley Cameron, is she going to stuff a puppet up Mercedes Moné's arse? Like, I'm not sounding like that. Behave, Catherine. Don't compare me to that reprobate. That's an insult to me. You know it is. Don't compare me to him. Especially him. What's up, Tempo? The sad thing is, Fernando, she already has. But I don't think the crowd would get behind a Harley Cameron heel turn. And I don't think they should do it either. I think it'd be a bad idea. I really think it would be a bad idea. Because even I watch Harley wrestle, I'm genuinely serious. I'm not watching her to be like because I think she's a champion. I think she is capable of being a champion. When you listen to what I'm saying carefully, I'm saying when I watch her in the ring, I'm not thinking, "Oh, great, what's she gonna win next?" Or if she is she gonna win the title? I'm thinking, what chaos does she do next? Because that's what she is. She's chaos. And believe it or not, that's more exciting than any championship reign that she could have. And that's a fact. She's that type of person where she could steal a championship belt or make a fake one. She could make a fake championship belt, walk around with it, claim to be a real champion, try to defend it, and then people just beat the shit out of her. And it would be so damn funny. But I don't want to see her become a champion. I don't. I feel like you damage her by doing that. And I won't change my opinion on that either. I won't. People still watch Ring of Honor Temple. They still do. A lot more than you think. Mm-hmm. She is. That I agree on. She's not someone you should put in the main event scene. But this match was good. I thought the crowd were so well into it. I thought the whole thing was phenomenal. Bryan Danielson, after having the worst commentary start of a show, did excellent. He held out so well. He was stronger by the end of the night when it comes to his commentary. But Harley kicking out of Fate's Descent was perfect. The Liger Bomb winning it was phenomenal. And of course, backstage, the show was ruined by Fat Fuck Kingston and Hook because they've got a match for Collision. WrestleDream. Brodido Mark Briscoe versus the Don Callis family. Again, this match was fun. Thought it was a good laugh overall. The fact that it was Rocky Romero unfortunately ruins it because Rocky Romero sucks. But Lance Archer and Kyle Fletcher made the match fun. AEW showing footage of Takeshi's championship victory as well was phenomenal. Re-showing the Don Callis family segment where Okada turned off Takeshita on the video was brilliant. And if you missed this on TV, if you're lucky, if you saw in picture, AEW went to break when Bandito and Briscoe were actually doing the Macarena, which is a shame because that was actually really funny. But we got a great image when this show ended. Okada holding both tag titles as the show goes off the air was really well done. But this weekend, Okada's got to turn on Takeshita. He's got to turn on him. What's up, brother? How are you doing? He's got to turn on him this weekend. None of that will they or won't they coexist bullshit. No thank you. Decent. Ring of Honor this week featured Isla Dawn's Ring of Honor debut, teaming up with the Grizzled Young Veterans, so a Scottish woman teaming up with Scousers is just awkward. We had the Von Erichs up against Griff Garrison and Cole Carter from the Frat House on this show. Sydney Akeem returned up against Alex Zane. Wheeler Utah's going for 7 straight wins in a row. We had Diamante versus Aaliyah James, and also we've got Shannon Moore versus Blake Christian on this show. How do you book Okada versus Takeshita? Well, quite frankly, putting the tag belts on them isn't the right answer. Either this match ends in a DQ or Okada just simply hits a Rainmaker on Takeshita and walks. If they win the belts this weekend, it's just going to lead to the lingering of why do they have to coexist? And that's becoming an overused storyline right now that I can't enjoy. Like, I've seen the will they or won't they, can't they coexist for so long now that I just don't want it. It'll be painful if they do it. Yeah, Shannon Moore was on this card. He's 46 now. The Triplex of Terror. Lovely. Anyway, this show does open with Sydney Akeem versus Alex Zane. Alex Zane has really come into his own back in Ring of Honor. He's really done well. Talent-wise, no, he's still going. He's on the indie scene. Like, he's on the indie scene a lot at the minute, Shannon Moore. This is early control from Alex Zane. Like, Alex Zane is in firm control for this match. If you're being honest, like, vast majority of the offense, vast majority of the tempo. No, that was Gregory Helms. Gregory Helms was the Hurricane. Ninja Mac was on GCW. Decent. Ninja Mac's losing his way. Well, not losing his way. He's lost his way. Zayn hits a Ripcord Hurricane Rana in the closing stage of the match and goes for a 450. And whilst he's in the motion of hitting the 450, Sydney Akeem hits a spinning stunner in midair to win the match. I know. Isla Dawn is backstage. She's interrupted by the Premier Athletes and Mark Sterling offering their services, load of bollocks, and Grizzled Young Veterans show up. This is also the Grizzled Young Veterans' first match in Ring of Honor in quite a while. They do win this. This is the first time in mixed tag action that the Premier Athletes do lose, which is okay. Well, it's not really them, but it's who they were supposed to be. It was a couple of clowns, Carolina Cruz, Gabriel Eros, and Javi. It was meant to be them, but I think they're saving them, but they basically had them wrestle that way. Oh, I know who Cocaine is, and Cocaine is useless. That gimmick has lost enjoyment now. I really don't care about it anymore. Blue Cane is so much better. The Premier Athletes did smoke Isla Dawn and Grizzled Young Veterans after the match, though. Like they tore them apart. Story Denali had a massive chokeslam on Isla Dawn, which was good. Diamante versus Aaliyah. James Catherine will like this one when I say this match sucked. Diamante hits a bridge suplex for the win, and we move on. The match sucked. Wheeler Yuta versus Oro. Yes, I have. Wheeler Yuta versus Oro. Wheeler Yuta. Again, I'm going to say this nicely. Wheeler Yuta is not lazy on Ring of Honor, but he's lazy on Dynamite. He was so up for it in this one, and it was really well done. But again, classic eye rake, high knee gets the win. Blake Christian versus Shannon Moore. Well, if you want the real result, Blake Christian actually did win this with Vanilla Choke 0 and Moore tapped out. Honest to God, this match was horrible. Like, they did no justice. But I will give credit to Blake Christian for one thing. Moore hit the corkscrew moonsault, but then Blake Christian hit that snap power slam. He hit that snap power slam that Dustin Rhodes did, and it looks so crisp. Oh yeah, it has gotten stale. He should be called Weed Cane now, or Marijuana Cane. Marijuana, like Mr. Murphy. Marijuana's bad, okay? The Von Erichs versus the Frat House in tag action, because I'm skipping the QTV segment. They're looking to avenge their first ever Ring of Honor tag loss, and the Frat House are just looking to have fun after bullying Glacier. No matter the result, the Frat House pledged to consume alcohol. While watching the Frat House is like drinking alcohol. They just force out of you because they suck. Ring of Honor this week gets the point ahead of TNA because, quite frankly, TNA didn't care. They didn't do a show for you guys. They didn't do a show, so why should we bother? So I'm giving the point to Ring of Honor because at least Ring of Honor did matches, but they weren't great. It could have been better. Next week I'm expecting better from both companies, and this Ring of Honor Women's Tournament for the Pure title is becoming so bad now because they've not had any matches for a while. This tournament needs to hurry up and get to conclusion. Deonna Purrazzo's promo was phenomenal, but even then, they're not giving the rest of the matches. This needs to speed up now. We need to get to this Pure Women's title crowned. Otherwise, what's the point in having it? What's the point in having it if you're not even going to get more through the tournament? Yes, because TNA didn't even do anything last night. They just did a recap show. So we're going to do this whole recap thing. They recap Bound for Glory. Anyone that was involved in matches were on interview. The only two worth listening to was Santana and Leon Slater. The rest of it can go to hell. They can. So I'm going to throw over to you guys for the next 30 plus minutes. We're just going to do we'll do some fun. We will do for the next half hour. It was horrible. I'm not even gonna praise them. They chose not to care about the product. And that was definitely, if I'm gonna say it now, if I'm being honest, that was Carlos Silva and Tommy Screamer. They chose last night not to care. Insane champion. Oh, ICP to AEW, eh? I don't know if that's the right answer or choice. The fact that he's got a 1 year no compete. Yeah, Insane Clown Posse. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time. I don't know if it's worth it now. In terms of the whole Andrade thing, he's a fucking waster. He needs to be blacklisted from the business. I want nothing to do with him. If I'm being truly honest, I want nothing to do with him. I thought Andrade had some sympathy coming in, but he chose to just fuck shit up. So screw him. I'm gonna take a 60-second break, and then we're gonna do a 45-minute Q&A with everybody. 3, 2, now. It's been a while since we've done this. If it's, well, Darby, but if he doesn't win it, then then it's a pointless feud. Fair enough. That's pretty much what he does. But there's nothing about him that's interesting anymore. If I'm being honest, I don't care about James Storm anymore. I don't care. I haven't cared about James Storm since 2016. Do you think we get any returns this pay-per-view? No, I don't think so. Why did Kane replace Edge in the Edge and Christian Tornado tag match for the world title in Louisville, Kentucky? Don't know. Edge probably had an injury. I don't know. It's not just my opinion, it's a genuine consensus. Not many people care about James Storm anymore. No one does that much. It's just because his gimmick is outdated. Will Jericho make his WWE return at the Royal Rumble? Yeah, he should. If that's the best place for him. But quite frankly, I want to see Jericho just go on a Painmaker tour. I want to see him go across promotions as the Painmaker. I want to see him do the Painmaker as the final run and then just pack up his shit after that. Hmm. It'll be interesting to see what he does because bear in mind Jericho's also in very good health and physical shape at the minute as well. He's been doing heavy workouts in the gym and stuff. He's lost a lot of weight. He looks like he's in good physical shape. If he's actually in good shape, if he returns to AEW, then he shouldn't leave. Quite frankly, he just needs to stop with that learning tree gimmick and go back to the Painmaker. Well, the Painmaker by day, suits by night. Cool. Decent. Yeah, I'm not watching that time. Not happening. I'll be sleeping. If it goes well, fair play to them. Favorite faction betrayal? It's between three. It's between three factions. So number one is Bullet Club betraying AJ Styles, sending him packing to WWE, obviously. Number two is the corporation turning on The Rock. And number three was the chaos betrayal of Okada, where everybody turns on him. Should Maxine win the women's IC title in her hometown? Absolutely not. If she wins that title, you may as well just get rid of that title. Just retire it. That title will mean nothing if she wins it on Monday. That title will mean diddly squat. It'll be just like giving a belt to Dana Brooke. It'll mean nothing. Don't look behind you. Don't look in front of you. Don't look on the sides. Look up. Because the macho man's on top. There you go. But honestly, Maxine winning the IC title will be disgusting. With Styles returning next year, who should be his last opponent? Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome, because I don't want to see his last match in WWE. It'll make me physically sick. What's the difference between Maxine and Harley Cameron? Maxine is boring, untalented, can't cut a promo, can't wrestle. She's just a TikTok influencer with wrestling boots. That's it. That's the difference for me. If they seriously put the belt on her, then they're foolish. They're stupid. They're willing to take the US title off Chelsea Green and give it to someone who doesn't know what she's doing with it. Now it's with Julia, which means nothing. And now it's give it to Maxi Dupree. No. Ron Killings should not be one of Styles' opponents. No. Because he's a joke. I do not want to see him anywhere near it. I've actually put my list of who should be his retirement tour. I actually put it on Twitter. Probably. Everyone seems to do it, so if they do, I'm okay with that. I actually have my own retirement tour list that I want for AJ. Because I want AJ to do the right thing. I want AJ to get out of WWE for his final year. His final year should not be restricted to less talented wrestlers. The difference is, though, Juggalo, is there's no point. I don't think he needs to. I've only listed one WWE wrestler, I think, in my list I want him to get. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 11 names. I've got 11 names that I want. Those are the names that I picked. I want some rematches. And I want some new matches like Bolton, Ozawa, Kyle Fletcher. I want a Leon Slater match. I want an Ilya match with him. I don't want nonsense. Shinsuke Nakamura, I'm expecting it to happen. That's why I've not named Nakamura. But I don't want it in a WWE ring. Should Kurt Angle be a surprise challenger for Cena? It'd be nice, but they haven't got the guts. Leon Slater is the only opponent he should wrestle in TNA. That might sound harsh, but it's true. He's already had a match with Nick Nemeth. I don't think Santana's the right. I don't think he needs a match with Santana. He doesn't need a Mustafa Ali match. If he wrestles Moose, he'll just end up going insane. Punk versus Styles? Yeah, I suppose. People think that if I know we said the other day we think that Punk is AJ's going to win a title in his last year. If he does, then cool. But quite frankly, I just want AJ to go other places and just have fun elsewhere. That's true. But I feel like they'll just. The reason why I don't want him to have a WWE retirement tour is because they'll fuck it up. Penta won't win the Rumble. Ever. He should have already won it a long time ago. He should have won it 2-3 years ago. And AJ Styles has been the IC champion. AJ Styles won it during the pandemic. Remember the ladder match with Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy? AJ Styles was the IC champion. Gotta say, yeah, my mind went into overdrive. I was like, yeah, AJ Styles is a Grand Slam champion in TNA, WWE. He's won the tag titles, the WWE title, the US title, the Intercontinental title. No, he's held the IC title. I'm sure he's held the IC and the US title because Sami Zayn won it off him as well. Yeah, 2020 held the title for 87 days. He won it in that tournament, remember? That's pretty much what I said, That's what I said, dude. Various opponents, but across the. He doesn't need to just. Not just indies, he should go in and be opponents where it makes sense. Yeah, he's only been champion once. I knew he'd won it once. He didn't get a long title reign, which was really stupid as well. But it makes no difference. Yeah, he lost a match with Bryan Danielson. Been there, done it. AJ's won both the US and the IC title. Are you talking about the best US and the best to hold both titles, or singular champions. The best US champ ever is Bret Hart. The best Intercontinental champion for me, funnily enough, is, you guessed it, Bret Hart. Bret Hart's, for me, the best for both. The only other for the US I would maybe say is Lex Luger. But, yeah. Well, in terms of North America, out in Japan, the best US champ is Kenny Omega for me, and the best Intercontinental champion is Tetsuya Naito. Or, Naito's one of my favorites for the craziness, but Nakamura was the best IWGP. He held it 5 times. Guy's just crazy. When it comes to the US Championship, Brett just made it feel good. Macho Man was a great IC champion. 440 days as well as champ he was. No, 415. Honky Tonk was slightly more. Crazy at the time. Enjoyable. Razor was a good IC champ. He's in my top 5. In terms of the WWE Intercontinental title, he's in my top 5. HBK, for me, he only had one good IC title reign, but he was alright. I wouldn't mind Styles versus Kerry Morton. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind AJ versus Amazing Red one last time. I'm going to say on a limb, HBK is not even in the top 10 Intercontinental champions for me. But I thought he was fun. Where would you rank Mr. Perfect? Number 3. He's in my top 3. I loved his Intercontinental title run. It was, funnily enough, it was perfect. But he's in my top 3. He did face Steve Corino. Long time ago though. Long time ago. Bret Hart is my favourite of the King of the Ring winners, but Kurt Angle was better. Because Kurt made a joke with it. Like Kurt made like a joke out of the whole King of the Ring, and then it led to something, whereas Bret won King of the Ring twice. And it led to him wrestling Jerry Lawler in a feud that was disgustingly bad. He was my favourite to win it. But Kurt Angle was a better King of the Ring winner. Jesus. Salford are delusional. Yokozuna or Vader? Vader. Best WWF champion and best and worst WWF champion. Best champion for me was, again, sorry folks, it's Bret Hart again for me. Worst WWF champion. Well, since you're saying just WWF, the worst for me, Bob Backlund, when he regained the title, because that should never have happened. Better chokeslam, Taker or Kane? Kane. Kane by a mile. When Taker started doing the chokeslam properly, it was better than Kane, but that 2000 and 2001, he did that weird chokeslam when he would hold them up and then he would bring them down. I'm like, what is that crap? Yeah, that was funny. That was a great line. Taker's chokeslam from 2003 onwards was better. But Kane's chokeslam between to be fair, Taker's chokeslam between 97 and 99 was awesome. But 2000 to 2002, Taker's chokeslam was not worth a watch at all. Unless he did a proper one. When he did that standing delayed chokeslam, it looked so crap. That's the only thing I don't like about Taker's chokeslam is when he did the delay one. It looks so bad. No, get them up and slam the fucker. Better debut, Kane at Hell in a Cell or Taker at Survivor Series? Kane. Kane's the greatest WWE debut of all time. The guy literally came out in red light, destroyed a cell, made Taker shit his pants, and then tombstoned him, screwed him out of getting a chance to get a world title shot at Survivor Series. Better than Taker's debut. Even though Taker obviously does get himself counted out in a match, and it's a scary debut, but both of them are scary, but Kane's debut is so much more intimidating. Better spear, Roman or Goldberg? Neither, they both suck. I don't rate Goldberg's spear, I don't rate Roman's spear, they both suck. Better Fake Brother team, Edge and Christian or Taker and Kane? For the moments you would probably say Taker and Kane, but for the successes, you'd probably Edge and Christian. Oh yeah, it was 100%. I would honestly, I would say Edge and Christian are a far better team. Which one? Which one? Rockers or the Hardy Boys? Hardy Boys. Frankie Kazarian. I would rather just Styles versus Kazarian. Styles versus Daniels is a shame we won't see that again. Or Styles versus Joe. We won't even get Styles versus Bobby Roode again. The Hardy Boys are a far better tag team than the Rockers. Not even close for me. Mm-hmm. It is. It isn't. It doesn't feel as good anymore though. Like that gimmick has basically been null and void since it went to TJP, and even then he changed it and became Manic, and that was the death of the gimmick when they changed it to Manic and then changed the. They made him go in a blue suit with like the half cut mask. That was so bad. I hated that TNA story. That was one of my worst watched TNA storylines when they were teaming up with James Storm and Abyss. And well, to be fair, Sanada when he was the Great Sanada, that was so bad. That nearly ruined Sanada's gimmick for life. Nearly ruined his whole career. Thankfully, it didn't, but it nearly did. If it didn't, then oh god. I know it's back to red. What I'm saying is, it doesn't feel like it used to. What like once you changed it, you can't get it back. You know, like it doesn't feel right anymore. Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. That by far, Edge and Christian versus the Hardys was the better rival. Yes, some wrestlers do get that. I'm glad to hear this has helped, mate. I'm glad to hear. Tomorrow morning, I'm on a show with Carl, talking football. The the Levy and Horn podcast, if you want to check that out, because I'm going to be talking about obviously United versus Liverpool and Rangers close to getting Kevin Muscat as manager. So I'll be doing that tomorrow morning. I think it's at 11. I think it's at 11 o'clock, 11, half 11. So if you're around, I'll be doing that. I saw your post about Pickford. That's really cool. What I'll do, I think the best thing is your favorite GM in WWE. Um, Probably Theodore Long. I think it would have to be. But I did like Kurt's 2 attempts at GM, even though his second one they really ruined him. But his first run was funny. I'll give it just a couple more minutes. I think if we just go a couple more minutes, it might be easier because, to be honest, I just want to relax. It's been a long week. Luckily, I'm not watching SmackDown, so I'll be safe mentally. But I hope everyone has enjoyed this show tonight. I really do, because, again, this channel is nothing without you guys. Your favourite WrestleDream? 2020. I'd have to say last year. Let me guess, Darius. I'd have to say last year's WrestleDream. If she just keeps going on and winning titles, her downfall is going to go crazy. Especially considering the fact she's got a match with Persephone tonight defending her title belt. She's going to work herself into the ground. She defends her belt against Persephone tonight. If they end up touring the UK, then I think they'll do well in certain towns, but I don't know if they'll get into the mainstream towns that well. I think they would do okay in London, Manchester. I think they'd do well in Edinburgh and Glasgow. That's it. Maybe Sheffield, but I don't think they would do well elsewhere. I think elsewhere they may struggle. But those 5 places, they would do really well. They'd do sellouts. Depending on the arenas they pick, but they could do well. There's some really good ones in Glasgow. Edinburgh, I don't know where they would go. I would like to see them do the Royal Albert Hall if they went to London. I think the Royal Albert Hall would be a good shout because that held a great battle royal in '92. I would like that. Well, 91, 92, they did the Royal Albert Hall show, and it did work. It's going to go insane. It's going to be manic. Small venues because it's the type of crowd. It makes sense for them. I don't think they can go any bigger. And that's not an insult to them. It's just an unfortunate reality. Ladies and gentlemen, I will give you one last question each, and then I'm bailing out. So one more question each, and then I'm gonna bid you all good night. Santana's first challenger. I'm hoping it's Mustafa Ali. I hope it's Mustafa Ali. If not, they'll probably give it to someone like Kazarian without his championship contract executed. I would hope it's Mustafa Ali. It'd be the right choice. Next challenger for Kalani, hopefully Indy Hartwell in a rematch, and she takes the title. She should not be champion. Well, it's terrifying. What do you expect? Absolute fear. And with that, 2 hours, 7 minutes, fun time, really good time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, WrestleDream prediction show. Won't just be me. That I can confirm. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks, and good night. In a way, yes. In a way, no. But that's a valid point. See you later. And today, our time comes to an end. This has been another exciting stream. Thank you very much for watching. And also, remember, if you get cracked over the head with a steel chair, you're not going to get concussion. You're just going to come back here. Goodbye.